And welcome to another edition of Magic Pod Squad, an official edition of Magic Pod Squad. We're getting the gang back together. This is exciting. This podcast presented to you by the all-new Seltos SUV from Kia, official vehicle of the Orlando Magic. Give it everything. Dante Marchitelli, George Galante, David Steele, Jeff Turner, reunited with you guys, and Paul Kennedy. Man, this is a treat getting the band back together here, guys. How are you?
Great. It's good to see everybody.
Fab Five.
Everybody's good. David, how's the weather where you are?
Weather's good
Up
here.
where I am, it's chilly. It's chilly. It was in the 30s this morning, and just got through with a nice long walk and a little brisk breeze blowing. It feels good up here in North Carolina.
So let's fill everybody in. So we're all, me, JT, and George are in Orlando. PK, David, where are you guys?
Orlando.
I guess I'm the only one that fled. My wife and Sally and Coach and I, we are self-isolating in North Carolina. We came up here a couple of weeks ago, and we haven't seen anybody. I'm so glad to see human faces. I haven't seen anybody in 19 days except my wife and my dog.
That was going to be my question. My question was going to be, when was the last time you saw a person up in the cabin? You got to be just seeing animals.
Boy, I tell you what, it's beautiful up here, but I'm ready. We're going to be heading back to Central Florida here pretty soon. It's been nice. It's chilly though, very chilly. It's pretty warm down there, right? Central Florida. That's been keeping up with
this is the coldest
my family down there.
It's been in a while. Paul, David heard the word pandemic and he abandoned his entire family. Fled to North Carolina.
Took the dog. He took the dog.
He did take the dog.
Can't forget Coach.
Well, let's do a hair check. JT, I imagine, is that why we got the hat on here today?
Yeah, it might be a little scary. So here's the big reveal here. So notice we've got the floor going on in the back.
Oh, man.
Down the sides. I'm going back to 1980 with this haircut probably. We're getting there. High school.
Barbershops are pretty much closed, so who's going to volunteer to do the haircuts here? Are we all self-haircutting?
You're going to wait it out, JT, or you're going to go with, is Dee Dee going to take care of it?
Dee Dee would take care of it, but I just as soon wait it out because I just don't know.
What would it take for all of us to let our wives cut our hair? Could it get to that point? No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I got in just under the wire. I mean, just before the shutdown, I had an appointment. I raced it. I couldn't get there fast enough. I could see this coming. So I've got a few more weeks before, I probably got a couple of months, actually. Let's hope it doesn't go that far, though, fellas.
The funny thing is Laura wanted me to take the boys in to get a haircut, like right when this all started. And I was like, no, we can wait. And then we waited too long, and now we're all past the point of no return now. With the three of us, we look ridiculous.
In another month.
I've got about 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Another month, this is going to look like a 1970s rock album.
I like the facial hair. Dante and George, Jeff, Paul, we got some work to do. I don't think I can do that, though. I don't think I'm capable of making that happen.
I'm still not convinced I'm capable of making it happen.
You've got the Abraham Lincoln thing going.
That looks real good.
That looks really good. And you don't have as many colors as I have in mind.
Dante's got a lot of gray showing, David.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. I noticed.
A lot of gray.
Or as my daughters say, Daddy has a lot of white in his hair. A lot of white. Hey, I think you guys would all be interested in knowing this. Wouldn't you love to know? By now, we've all gotten 4 text messages from Paul Kennedy with different articles to different. I would love to know Paul's day. How early do you get started? And what is your plan of attack when you're researching all these great articles you send us?
6:30 in the morning, the alarm goes off, right?
Yep.
Kennedy, head out to Lake Eola for a couple of laps.
Yeah.
Come back in, fire up the computer, and start reading. Awesome. Now, we're supposed to be reading books, right? And catching up on literature, those novels you've never read. I get trapped, I don't know about you, Orlando Sentinel, New York Times, Twitter. Here we go. Facebook. Oh, look. Boom, boom. YouTube. Oh, that's cool. 1970 Santana concert. That's great. I'll send that to George. David,
You know, that's an interesting point, because it used to be, you know, if you had time like this, I would sit down with a book, you know, and read, which I do have a couple going right now, but I'm not in them as much because there's so much information on the internet. You're trying to keep up with what's going on. You spend so much time with probably things you probably shouldn't even be worried about, can't do anything about. But you know, maybe we should all think about getting back to reading just a good old book, cover book.
Oh, is that the dog, David?
No, that's mine.
Not my dog.
That's my. She always wants to let us know when the neighbors.
That's not my dog's bark.
Sorry about that.
You can recognize that. Well, I think it's interesting. You guys are all a part of this, but you know, we had a conversation, David, if you want to fill everybody in, about a couple of weeks ago, just trying to figure out a way that all of us Magic broadcasters could maybe come together and use whatever platform we had to try and raise money for some great organizations here in Central Florida. We're off and running, and I think it's a great contest that we're running, and I think it's all for a great cause, because it's amazing. There's a lot of people hurting out there right now, David, and if we can feed some of them and kind of help fill a need here in Central Florida, we're hoping to do that.
Yeah, you guys have probably seen the same video and read the same stories that I have all around the country. Food banks are having shortages, and just can't come up with enough food to feed those that really are in need right now. So, you know, Dante, you reached out and to all of us and said, you know, is there any way we can come up with a plan to maybe raise some money and help some people in Central Florida? And, you know, every one of us here, everybody was all in. All the broadcasters were all in on it. And, you know, I just had this idea to try and do something that would be maybe raise some money, have some fun, and help out those groups that really need help right now. So, yeah, the contest is the Broadcasters Challenge. And we're throwing out videos, fun videos that indicate how much we love Orlando and the Orlando Magic. And we're making donations to one of two organizations, the Christian Services Center or the Second Harvest Food Bank, who both, you know, they operate together a lot, and they do a lot of the same types of services for those in need in Central Florida. So we're trying to raise money. Fans can post their videos of, you know, showing maybe their kids, or just do a little on-air clip, a little 10, 15, 20, 30-second clip talking about how much you love Orlando and the Magic, or maybe it might be a video of your kids or your family, and then make a donation to one of those two organizations. And then we're going to get everybody together when this is all over with and take a look at the videos that have been entered and pick a winner. And when we get back to having fans in the arena, and we can have a contest winner have courtside seats and meet and greet with the Magic broadcasters. So that's the way it works. I'm not exactly sure technically how it works, Dante. I'm trying to figure that out, but maybe you can help us out with all of that.
Everyone, all the details are on OrlandoMagic.com. You can find the Magic Broadcasters Challenge. And David, that's a great summary. I mean, really, we just encourage you to donate and then upload a video to Greenfly. You'll download the Greenfly app and upload a video, and we'll pick a winner, and we'll wine and dine them. You're going to get ultimate seats to a future game, access to the lounge, and a meet and greet. JT is going to walk you around the arena. PK will check in as well. And it should be a lot of fun. And, you know, JT, you've done these kinds of things for a while. There's a lot of worthy causes here in Central Florida, and you see, you know, obviously the great need that's here in Central Florida.
No question, Dante. I'm so proud of the Orlando Magic organization. You know, so many different people, whether it's players. You know, Steve Clifford yesterday stepped up for an organization that he supports, and you know, when you and David reached out about this is a no-brainer for us. And I think the great thing is we can have a little fun with this. Magic fans can have a little fun. You know, I've gone back and, you know, found some old photos of the girls when they were little at Magic games and doing some things. So from time to time, I'm going to post some of those. So, and just, you know, I think have a good time and help Central Florida. Our neighbors are in need in Central Florida, and we need to step up and take care of them.
They might like to see as well with our television production truck that we have, and all the, 25, 30 other people that are involved each and every night, the technicians, the cameramen, Ty Easton, our producer, Greg Hartung, our director. They might have to catch a glimpse of that. I think it'd be fascinating. All the complexities that go into the telecasts from the Amway Center each and every night. That'd be a wonderful opportunity, Jeff, David, Dante, George. We could perhaps walk our guests back there, and that'd be pretty enlightening because there's so many people that pour their hearts and souls into these games each and every night.
Yeah, I certainly would be up
There's some
for
photos.
Yeah, I would be up for the fans seeing the truck so that they know what the truck is. That when David's, is this anything? I am not the bell or buzzer.
Who rings that bell?
I'm up for
Who
that.
rings that bell? I got to meet that person.
I want to know who hits the buzzer. The bell is no problem. The buzzer I have an issue with.
We got to find out who that culprit is. We got to find out who that culprit is. Hey, how excited are you guys? Fox Sports Florida is going to start re-airing some classic Magic wins here throughout history. You're going to see Paul Kennedy part of those telecasts, and obviously Jeff Turner playing in those games. And, David, you watched all those games. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch those re-airs. Paul, I know that's got to take you back, right? All the way back. You started in the beginning back in 1989. We're going to see Shaq's debut. We're going to see those 1995 Eastern Conference semis and some great wins from that first year.
The mayor of Winter Park with that left-handed baseline jumper, Jeff Turner, 31. Yeah. I had a lot more hair back then, so you're going to get to see a lot more hair. That will be good. But there's some electrifying moments, and it's just so much fun. It's as if time stands still when you go back there. You see the Heart and Hustle team. You go back to the NBA Finals team of the mid-'90s. And, Jeff, the very first teams. Every night, wasn't it just so special when you came out on the court, whether you won 20 games or you won 50 games? Every night was a festival. It was spectacular.
It's going to be fun watching that. The first replay, I think, guys, is the first game in the old Amway Arena, or I guess it was the O-Arena back then. And so that's going to be fun. I never get enough of that one because it brings back a lot of memories for me, the energy in the building. David, you'll remember, like, it was the same people in the seats all the time. Everybody was so excited. If you bought season tickets, you were at every one of those games. It was a lot of fun, or to go back and watch it will be exciting as well.
Right. We've relived that over and over again through the years, haven't we? It's been discussed, but it never gets old for those of us that were there. It felt like we'd won some kind of a championship. It was, in reality, a preseason game, the first preseason game in Magic history, and it was, for fans that might not be aware, it was against the defending champion Detroit Pistons, the game. So it was Chuck Daly and Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, John Sally, the bad boys who had come off winning the NBA championship. So for them, it was just, preseason game number one and an 8-game preseason building up to what was going to be another long regular season and then another long run into the postseason for them. For us, it was everything. For the fans in Orlando, it was a new beginning. It was one of the most exciting nights in my professional career. It truly was, and it still stands out in my memory. And Jeff and Paul, I'm sure you feel the same way. It's a night that I'll never forget. It was really special. I won't spoil the ending for those that don't know what happened. It was pretty fun.
What was it like, Jeff, when you went out each night, and that was Larry Bird, and that is Magic Johnson? They're the icons of this league. That's Isaiah Thomas that you were playing against. This is Madison Square Garden. And
the old Chicago Stadium. What a great building that was.
That's MJ. This is Chicago. Yeah. What was that like?
Oh, you're taking me back, Paul. We can have a conversation about the NBA in the 80s and 90s and how good it was and the star power. You've named a few of them, but every night, particularly back then in the Eastern Conference, and have you look at the Atlantic Division where we started. Pretty good teams. You had great matchups every night.
Patrick Ewing.
I just want to know, will we get to see Paul wearing that button, the giant button that he had to wear during pregame shows at the Olive Garden? Like, it was like the size, it was like this big right in front of your screen.
Remember that? Hospitaliano.
Yeah.
They couldn't have a small enough word for that button. That's why the button was this big.
They wanted to put the logo on the back of his sport coat, and he drew the line on that. So they gave him a badge, as big as a donut.
Paul, did Matty like you putting that big pin on him? Did he like wearing that?
I don't think Matty liked anything. Oh, Matty did. It was great. Oh my goodness, the stories. I remember.
You know what I'm sitting there thinking, guys, is here we are. How many NBA franchises have a broadcast crew that has a lifetime of experience, the entire history of the franchise that are working the games? I mean, Jeff, a player, Paul was there in '89. I was the radio play-by-play guy. We're all still around. We're all still working, and it's kind of cool that we can bring a perspective to the franchise that there's not that many people have, and we're all capable of doing that. We can all still think and get up in the morning and walk around.
That's a plus.
At least for now.
And you all somewhat remember
I'm
everything.
not sure what's going to happen.
Right. That's right.
And maybe they can meet Paul Porter as well.
Paul too,
Yeah. Yes.
Public
Absolutely.
address announcer since day one.
I know.
Really?
Well, it's a great place to live, so I think we all recognize that. And it's a first-rate organization, and Fox Sports Florida, the Magic. I mean, we're all just so blessed to have this opportunity. And I'm looking at this list of these classic games, these re-airs. You guys mentioned the exhibition game. Well, we're re-airing the win over the Knicks, the win against Magic Johnson and the Lakers, the win against Michael Jordan in the Bulls. You guys beat some heavyweights. I bet you all thought right away you were going to the postseason, the way you started that year and pulling off some of these big wins.
We were good in November, Dante. We were really good in November. We'll just forget the rest of the year, though. 7-7 in the month of November, right, David?
7-7. We were rolling
games the rest of the way. Don't know what happened.
Yeah. Came back from Cleveland 2-1. The band was there, the cheerleaders. Those were high times for sure.
But this city must have embraced that, right? I mean, this city must have really been on fire with having a team and then the way you started.
At the end of the first season, they played on the road. You were on the road, David, Jeff. I was there in Minnesota against our expansion rivals, the Timberwolves. Neither team is going to win 20 games that year. It's one of the last games of the season. They're playing in the Dome, the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome, and went there over 40,000 people at that basketball game the first year. At the end of the season between two expansion teams, that was the fervor. Looked like a football game. 40,000 people to see the Magic and the Timberwolves.
It was not a real high quality of NBA basketball, but it was special because both fan bases were just on fire about having a team.
To your point, you're absolutely right. The passion for it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of talk. There already is, and in the coming weeks about Michael Jordan. There's a lot of news coming out and a pretty neat documentary on MJ. You guys all have your first memories of MJ. I'd love to go through those. Mine was when he came back as a Washington Wizard. I got to see him as a Wizard. A lot of people forget that, Michael Jordan, but he had a good couple of years. But, I mean, JT, you go all the way back to the Olympics. I mean, just go through your first recollection of MJ.
Even before that, Dante, I had the opportunity to play with Michael on a USA select team that traveled over to Europe in, I think, 1982. It would have been after his freshman year when he hit the big shot to beat Georgetown.
In New Orleans.
So I got to spend, a month with him traveling overseas. And then, as you mentioned, being a part of the Olympic team with him. My favorite memories of Michael Jordan are all off the court in those situations and seeing the competitor and other parts. I don't have too many good memories of being an opponent of Michael Jordan. That was never a positive for any of us, I don't think. Obviously, the games that we were able to win, we're going to see one, as you mentioned, in the expansion year when Otis Smith beats Jordan, beats the Bulls at the buzzer. Jordan had 52, and we still ended up winning the game. That was fun. So it's going to be fun, though. I'm really looking forward to this documentary because I'm anxious to see how deep they really go behind the scenes. They've got, I heard 10,000 hours of footage, which is incredible that they had to dig through.
Eric Barnhart and our staff, Lynn Mixon, others have been pouring through these games and pulling them up, and it's just amazing to watch. Wasn't the Otis Smith basket against Michael on a night in which Otis held him to 52? Wasn't that immortalized by Leroy Neiman in that wonderful work of art, that print? He's driving to the rim. It's a classic artist, sports artist, Leroy Neiman. And I think that speaks to the popularity of it.
Yeah, that's right.
David, had you seen Michael before '89 when you did that first Magic Bulls game? What was your first recollection?
Not in person, Dante. You know, obviously I'd watched the college basketball, what games were on back then, the NCAA tournament, and his tremendous performance, the baseline jumper, you know, for North Carolina, but not in person. What stands out to me about him was how great he was from start to finish of his career. But early in his career, and Jeff just mentioned it, and Paul, you know, he would get routinely 30, 40, 50 points, but his teams weren't, you know, they weren't all that great early on. But he was just so much fun to watch. He was sensational. He could do anything he wanted to do with the basketball. He could score pretty much at will. But to watch him progress from that guy who just had all that immense talent into a guy that understood how to win NBA games and became the player that, you know, maybe sacrificed obviously sacrificed a lot, because he could have dominated every game every night in the prime of his career. But to watch him develop from a guy that was that guy as a young player into a guy that understood how to win championships, that was pretty special to see his entire career from start to finish in that way.
Paul, how about for you from just an interview standpoint? I would imagine there he is, his airness, right? You're about to speak with Michael Jordan. And the media circus that probably came with that, that's probably pretty memorable, I would think.
Yeah, it was. And to do him was great. He's surrounded by people. Larry Bird would talk. You just had to get to the arena at 4:00 because he was going to shoot before everybody else did. They all had this ambition, this drive. And Bird had already been a champion. And you're absolutely right. There was such an aura about those guys. But at the same time, and you've talked about, David and Jeff, the arena with all the same seats, there were so many celebrities coming to see the Magic. So we would have them on as guests at halftime. Arnold Palmer, Payne Stewart, Stephen Stills of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Every night there was another person just wanting to come and talk, see this in person as they came through Orlando. And we would invariably have them on the air. Do you remember that, David? It was David, Jeff. Jeff was too focused on the game.
Yeah.
It's like Madison Square Garden, the celebrity row. But you had all
he's about to take an elbow from Karl Malone. He's focused on other things.
Yeah. Monty Hall from Let's Make a Deal was there. It was fun. It was just so much fun. And Pat Williams had orchestrated all of this.
You know, it was great to watch him in Orlando, but it might have even better to see those games in the old Chicago Stadium. The player introductions, I still get chills thinking about it. When they dropped the lights, the Alan Parsons Project song started playing, and you know, I saw a promo for the documentary that's coming up, and they're using that music, you know, in their promo, and it just gives me chills thinking about how great that was. The PA announcer finishing it up with, and from the University of North Carolina, number 23, Michael Jordan. It's pretty cool.
What was that?
You couldn't hear his name.
No, you couldn't hear his name.
The intensity was so loud. So I have a Michael Jordan story to share with you guys. So 1984, we come into the league, you know, same class and everything. I'll never forget, we're practicing in New Jersey at the old AP trucking gym. That's where we practice. And right after we were done, the Bulls were coming in to practice at that facility. And Michael walks in, and he's got the new Air Jordans on, right? Remember the original, the red and the black and the white. It's very unusual because everybody was either wearing white shoes with the logo and everything. And I'll never forget some of my older teammates saying, man, look at that kid. Those are clown shoes. Nobody's ever going to buy those. How about that?
Wow.
And look where we are now with the Air Jordan brand. So it's kind of funny. Way before his time.
Yes, he was.
But you all, Jeff, when you came to Orlando, can I make this point? You guys wanted to win so passionately on an expansion team. It could have been the first year or the second year. You were playing in Dallas toward the end of the season, and Scott Skiles injured his shoulder, if I recall, during the game and refused to come out and played with almost a partially separated shoulder, put it back in agony, you know, gutty gritty. How many of those games did you see? Dive it on the floor, David, that he just the competitive nature of you guys against the league's elite teams.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was Scott Skiles too. I mean, that he played through a lot of injuries. Jeff, you probably remember a few others too. There was a hand injury that he could barely move his fingers and his thumb. His right hand was not operable, and I don't think he missed any games at all. So you look at that, was a different era, and he was a different kind of guy too. But that's the way it was back then. You're right, Paul. I mean, these guys wanted to compete. They wanted to go up against Michael Jordan and the very best, and they were there pretty much every night.
Paul, George and I won't do a podcast if anything hurts.
George is day to day.
My back was bothering me a little bit today. I was trying to get over this.
Just powering through with a sore neck.
Patella tendon soreness. Bruce,
by the way, you guys are doing great work on the podcast. Just getting the players and the insight that you're getting from them. It's been fun to watch. Well done.
Well, we appreciate it. We miss having you guys involved. That's why it's great to catch up now. And it's been fun to talk to these guys, and you guys can all weigh in too. And George, I think the thing that stands out to me is obviously we understand the situation we're in, and it's a dire situation. We have to stay home, and we're in complete agreement with all the decisions that have been made to this point. But there's a feeling amongst every one of the guys that we've talked to that they had turned a corner, that they had found something, and that had they been able to keep playing, we were going to have a pretty special finish, especially the stretch of games we were coming into. I know we all feel that, but it was interesting to hear them say they really seem to have found something those 10 games after the All-Star break.
I think even the four of us might have even talked about it on the plane ride back from Memphis when we first got on the plane, that, we were starting to look ahead at the schedule, and you saw a lot of home games coming up against teams that were under us or maybe even with us. And, David and JT both had said, like we're about to go on a really nice run here. It's coming. And it already had started with the end of that trip, because those were three really quality wins that we had to finish that trip. We all kind of went into that trip, kind of bracing ourselves thinking, oh, if this goes sideways here, we could be in trouble. And it well, maybe that was just me, but it went the other way.
October to April. That's George. This could really get sideways.
But we could have left that trip 4-0. We had a really good chance of beating Miami, and then we come out the next game and dump truck Minnesota, and then we absolutely obliterate Houston and have that great comeback in Memphis. And we had all got on the plane that night and thought, man, we're really starting to find our groove here, and look at the schedule ahead and think, we're going to at least get to 7 and see where this thing ends up. And it just, it's just tough timing for everything.
I like dump truck. That's a very
you can use that if you want.
Descriptive.
Truck people.
I got a pen right here. I'm writing this down. Dump. Is that 2 words, 1 word?
That's 1 word. Dump trucked.
Dump
But didn't you guys feel that?
It's a verb. It's not a noun, Paul.
That's right. It's a verb. But David, I mean, we talked about it. We talked about it when we got on the plane. You could feel that things were turning.
Yeah, when I've been also, among all the other things that we're doing, long walks and eating pretty well and watching, binging TV shows or whatever we're doing, or reading, and I've gone back and looked at where the Magic were at that point, and how the season was going, and I don't think we had started thinking that, George, you're right, we had started thinking, wow, this thing is maybe headed in the right direction now. But you go back and look now, 6 wins in the previous 9 games. So it was 6 of 9, 6-3. 2 of the losses, one of them was at Miami. Remember, they made 22 threes, a franchise record, and won by 3. If they don't, I mean, they just had an extraordinary night shooting the 3 ball, or we win that game. And one of the other losses was at San Antonio when Evan, unfortunately, has an opportunity to win the game on a driving layup and can't finish that shot. We lose by 1 point. So you very well could have been, a team that had won 8 out of 9, and coming home with a favorable schedule. So yeah, I think things were definitely looking up.
Yeah, I agree. I think it very similar to last season as well. What I love about our coaching staff and the way that this thing is put together, the way they put the season together is the message never changes, right? It's the same. They harp on the same things. Yeah, they make adjustments during the season. We saw the pace pick up during the stretch that you guys are talking about. But the message is consistent, and then the play just kind of picks up as you would expect it to. We had some down times, obviously, early, but I thought we were peaking exactly like we did at the end of the last season going into the playoffs. So a little disappointing, although it seems like that was a year ago to me, since the Memphis game, but I know it hadn't been that long.
Paul, how did you feel? How did you see it? I know you're involved in the shows from the studio. You guys, your insight and your analysis, you saw this thing. You could feel this thing was changing.
Absolutely. With Coach Hill, when Coach Hill is involved, Bo Outlaw involved, it's exactly what you've said each and every night. I think one of our other concerns has to be as well, if you're going to get a new Tom Brady jersey to the back wall, because
wait, can we talk about this, Paul?
That's not you got Penny over here, which I love. Is that Penny or is that T-Mac?
That's T-Mac.
Poppy, right? I know you're good with Poppy.
Guys, here's the new
big Poppy, but David, does that bother you, or is it just me? Jeff, George, here's the Bucks.
Here's the new debate, okay?
Okay, I'm with you.
Dante now says that he's going to root for the Bucks because Tom Brady is on the Bucks, and that if the Bucks and the Patriots somehow ended up in the Super Bowl, which they're not going to because the Patriots are going to be horrible this year.
Thank you, George.
That the two of them would meet, he would root for the Bucks. He would root for the that's what he said this whole time.
I can't believe that.
That's hard. He was raised a Patriot fan. There's no way. I got to see it to believe it. Dante's not a one-player guy. He is a team guy.
He is on record. He is on record as saying
really
cheer for the Bucks.
This one exception. The Patriots dropped the ball. You don't let this guy leave New England. You don't let him leave. And
you're angry.
I'm a Patriots fan. I'm a Patriots fan first, and I will adopt the Bucks, and I'll cheer for Tom Brady. But if they meet in the Super Bowl, I want Tom to beat Bill. I want Tom to beat Bill. That's what I want.
David, what do you think about that?
I'm shocked. I'm like JT. I'll have to see that to believe it.
Yeah.
He's such a hardcore Patriot fan. It's hard for me to see him going with any other team.
So will we see Dante wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneer hat?
Great question. Great question.
Not sure about the gear. I think if somebody sent it to me, like if I got a box with a bunch of stuff, I think I'd.
You got a box from Tom Brady.
Yeah, if I got a box from Tom Brady, yes. Exactly.
Jeff, he'll have a pirate hat. Arr. A little iPad. Arr.
And a feather and a hat.
You already have one of those.
Believe it.
He's got one of those now with the one with the big feather on it. That's just sitting in the back.
I want Tom. Tom brought us so much joy. So did Bill. But I want to see Tom beat him. I think that'd be fantastic. I want to see Tom get one more. That's just me. And then we can win like 7 or 8 more after Tom retires. I'm fine with that. Well, listen, guys, what are we going to do to pass our time? We miss seeing you guys. Miss our lunches, our dinners, traveling, talking during the season. What's everybody doing to pass time here until we get back out on the floor?
I'm eating ice cream.
Good. Good.
Me
Any
too.
flavors?
I did a Haagen-Dazs Ben and Jerry's side by side the other night. That was fantastic.
A Haagen-Dazs with a side of Ben and Jerry's?
That was it. I did a comparative analysis.
Good for you.
That's very good.
I've got a question. I've got a question for everybody.
Yes.
Gaining weight or losing weight?
Oh,
I'm at a plateau because I have found myself I've gone on more walks than I would normally have. So I'm making it a point because my wife has been really good. She's been setting an alarm and getting up every morning, and she goes out and does like 4 or 5 mile walks now. And so I've started to feel like I better get my acting gear to keep up. So I've been taking a nice 4 mile walk here and there that I have not been doing before. So my eating is still garbage, but I would say I think I'm leveled out right now. I'm even.
Okay.
I'm even.
Paul, another term for you. George likes to say he treats his body like an amusement park.
I have a new nickname. Joan calls me Puff Daddy.
I can't believe that.
I don't believe Paul or JT or probably David either has gained 1 pound since.
No.
Jeff, how much, Jeff? Have you been riding your bike?
I'm taking a lot of walks. Didi and I get out and walk. I've got some home projects I've been working on and things like that. I will say I had a little bit of a spike around the 9th, my birthday. I consumed an entire carrot cake.
Good for you, Jim.
I didn't share it. I'm sorry. I couldn't share it.
Carrot's a vegetable.
There you go, Paul. There you go. That's what I said.
I felt for you, man. How was birthday in quarantine?
Hey, not too bad. I had barbecue and carrot cake. Can it get any better than that?
That's
Oh,
pretty
right?
good.
Perfect.
Notch.
That's right down your alley.
That is pretty good. My only decision has been happy hour was like every other day, every 3 days. Now it's every day. And it's what time are we going to start it today? Sometimes it's the morning. It fluctuates.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
David, I'm not going to lie to you. I drank beer during the staff meeting the other day. Don't send this to HR, but I had a beer during the staff meting.
And
Well,
Paul,
somebody might actually hear that, George. So
Paul,
it
he
might have to be edited out.
he was the presenter too.
How did you do with Easter candy? Did anybody have Easter candy? Any sugar? Anything like that? No?
Man.
I ate a little chocolate.
No,
More pressure on my belt buckle than the back of the Hoover Dam right now.
No, my girls did pretty well. On Easter, but it's hard. You can't get out and find things, so everything had to be ordered and all that. But listen, guys, it's been great catching up with you. And I think one more thing, we encourage everybody to go to OrlandoMagic.com. We're trying to raise as much money as possible. So donate. Go to OrlandoMagic.com. It has the link, and then download the Greenfly app and upload a picture or a video. And we're picking the best one. And that winner is going to get 4 ultimate seats, wine and dined for future Magic game. And we're all going to treat them right. Right, Paul? We'll take them in the truck.
Absolutely.
George can help us. We'll walk around and give them nice access. And we'll give them a little Magic gear maybe. We're really going to make it nice. We're going to reward that generosity and try to help some people here in Central Florida that need it.
There's nothing more painful than hunger in
Right.
this world. And we can change that. And everyone watching can change this. And we will certainly show them a wonderful time. The Christian Service Center does does God's work there. They both do. And so this will be fantastic. So many people in need, and this will be a whole lot of fun and good for a phenomenal cause.
Right. Well, you guys didn't hesitate, so we appreciate you joining, your willingness to be a part of it. Let's raise some money. Let's have some fun looking at those videos, and you guys stay safe, please. Fans or not, would love to have fans back in the building, obviously, as soon as possible, but fans or no fans, let's get back to playing games here at some point. But until then, be safe, guys.